jajaran iTELL, yang kami hormati para tamu undangan, para narasumber, pemakalah, peserta seminar internasional, serta Bapak, Ibu, dan hadirin yang berbahagia.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the international seminar entitled Empowering Language Learners in Multicultural Context, Trends in Technology and Pedagogy. My name is Dika and
Agita,
have the honor of serving you as your master of ceremony for today's event. Today's seminar brings together scholars, researchers, educators, and professionals from various backgrounds to exchange ideas, share knowledge, and explore current developments in language, technology, and pedagogy.
seminar hari ini mempertemukan para cendekiawan, peneliti, pendidik, dan profesional untuk bertukar ide, berbagi pengetahuan, dan mengeksplorasi isu-isu terkini terkait bahasa, teknologi, dan pedagogi.
We sincerely hope that this conference will foster meaningful discussion and inspire future collaborations among institutions and across nations.
Kami berharap acara ini akan mendorong diskusi yang bermakna dan menginspirasi kolaborasi di masa depan antar lembaga dan negara.
Our next agenda is the singing of the national anthem of the Republic of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya.
Acara selanjutnya menyanyikan lagu kebangsaan Indonesia Raya. Hadirin dimohon berdiri.
Please remain standing for the opening prayer.
Selanjutnya adalah doa bersama. Doa akan dipimpin secara Hindu. Kepada petugas kami persilahkan.
Om Swastiastu. Om Awignastu. Namo Siddhiyam. Om Giri Patih Dewa Dewi Loka jagat pati sakti mantemah kewiryam jenana mante siwat makem Om Sri Bhavantu Sukham Bhavantu Purnam Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Om.
Thank you. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now proceed to the welcoming remarks. Our first welcoming address will be delivered by the chairman of the organizing committee, Ms. Niputu Dian Utami Dewi MPD.
Hadirin yang berbahagia, acara selanjutnya adalah sambutan-sambutan. Sambutan pertama akan disampaikan oleh Ketua Panitia kepada Ibu Niputu Dian Utami Dewi MPD, dipersilahkan.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Om Swastiastu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua, salam, namo buddhaya, salam kebajikan. The Honorable Rector of Institut Agama Hindu Negeri Empu Kuturan, Profesor Dr. Igede Suwindia, SAG MA, President of iTELL, Dr. Gumawang Jati MA, Director of English Corps, Bapak Calm Downs, Director of Relo, Bapak Kevin McCawy, Representative of GNL, Vice Rectors of IMK, Deans of IMK, invited speakers, conference participants, invited guests, and conference organizing committees. We offer our highest gratitude to the Almighty God, Ida Sang Hyang Widiwasa, for His grace that we are able to gather here this morning to participate in iTELL Conference 2026 organized by Institut Agama Hindu Negeri Empu Kuturan. We are delighted to have such a diverse gathering of scholars, practitioners, and students who share a common passion for advancing knowledge and fostering multicultural dialogue. The theme of this conference is Empowering Language Learners in Multicultural Contexts, Trends in Technology and Pedagogy. We extend our deepest gratitude to our keynote speakers, presenters, and participants who have contributed their time, expertise, and enthusiasm to make this event possible. In the coming 2 days, we have prepared a vibrant academic journey, 1 keynote speakers, 12 plenary sessions, 70 parallel sessions, 6 workshops, 6 iTELL board workshops, 2 poster presentations, and 1 sponsor presentations. Beyond the session, our gala dinner will celebrate the richness of our diversity. I warmly invite you to engage wholeheartedly, share your insight, and embrace the collective wisdom that this seminar offers. We gratefully acknowledge the allocation of funds from DIPA budget, as well as the valuable contribution from iTELL and our sponsors, including English Corps, Relo, and CNL. Their support has ensured that we can gather here today in a well-organized and conducive environment of academic exchange. This seminar stands as a manifestation to the dedication and teamwork of many people. I sincerely thank the organizing committee for their year-long commitment in shaping the program, coordinating session and handling countless details with professionalism. My deepest appreciation. Om Santi, Santi, Santi Om. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. Next, we are honored to invite the President of iTEL, Mr. Gumawan Jati, to deliver his welcoming remarks.
Selanjutnya kami undang Presiden iTEL Bapak Gumawan Jati untuk dapat memberikan sambutan terkait acara hari ini. Kepada Bapak kami persilahkan.
Selamat pagi. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Good. Thank you very much for having us here. Thank you, Pak Rektor, Profesor Dr. I Suwandia, SIKMA. Thank you very much for the opportunity for iTEL to have the conference here with talking about technology. And thank you very much for Relo, Pak Kevin. Thank you so much for supporting us with all of the activities. Yesterday we had a day of workshop for teachers, and we managed to invite people from a little bit far. I think the furthest in the east we have from Mamuju. Ibu dari Mamuju yang travel 13 jam di jalan dan terbang. Silakan berdiri, Ibu. So, thank you very much for coming, and also somebody from Padang. I think, thank you, Ibu. I think we have also somebody from Aceh. I'm not sure. Somebody give me oleh-oleh from Aceh. Saya lupa tadi ibu siapa begitu ya. So thank you very much. It's a small number compared to other conferences that we have. But this is, I think, the biggest one that we got the funding from Relo so that we can invite more teachers to come to Singaraja, even though it's pretty far. Then we have a pre-workshop conference that's run by iTEL and supported by Relo as well. And also we have four or five teachers grant sponsored by English Score. That's an online test. Thank you Pak Kom for coming. Can you stand up Pak Kom? Pak Kom itu selalu malu-malu kalau suruh duduk di depan. Ya. Naik motor dari Denpasar ke Singaraja. So that's Kom. Ya, thank you Kom. Oh iya, naik motor. Kalau yang lain naik mobil, Pak Kom naik motor. So ya. Terima kasih banyak juga untuk Ibu Dian. So thank you very much Ibu Dian for having us. Yang unik dari conference ini adalah we never met with Ibu Dian and the team. We never met with Pak Adi, I don't remember names, many people from IMK. We never met in physics. But then we organized everything online, using Zoom, using Gmeet. Week by week, we talk about the conference, we talk about the team, we talk about who should speak, and then a lot of good people here. Thank you also from, there is a one guy, very handsome one. Pak Warid, can you stand up? This is Pak Warid from Malaysia, coming here all the way, flight, and so on his university budget, or his own budget. So a lot of people are generous people coming here and for pro bono, because they want to share. Another great speaker also, Pak Willy, can you stand up? Yeah, Pak Willy is an old friend from iTEL, and he is now based in Singapore. Joined iTEL first conference, it was 2020, before COVID. Am I correct, Pak? Yeah. So thank you very much. Yeah. So everything here happened because of online working together with a very passionate and hard-working team, Ibu Dian and the team. And also terima kasih banyak untuk teman-teman iTEL that support. Sometimes we have 2 attending meeting, sometimes we have 4, sometimes we have the whole team, because we are all very, very busy. And all of this busyness, but still, this event can happen on that. Yeah. I'm going to tell you a little story actually, but can I have my slide? If not, then I'm going to bisa slide saya ditampilkan sedikit. Saya ada 4, saya lupa. An old man without slide cannot tell story. With slide, and then I'm going to teach, not telling story. I'm going to tell you a little bit about iTEL actually, because we have a lot of new members here, new participants that come here. If not, then open my mobile. Okay. Okay, no worries. Tidak apa-apa, ada di sini, saya cerita saja. So iTEL first conference was back in 2016. That's in Universitas Kristen Satya Wacana in Salatiga. Then 2018, so we have every 2 years. 2018 it was in UNS, Universitas 11 Maret Solo. Then 2020, that was in Universitas Ibnu Khaldun Bogor, just before the COVID. We went back home, then we got shocked that there was a COVID in Bogor for the conference. We thought it was us, so everybody got worried, but actually it's not us, that's another conference. So that's in the big news on that. Then during the COVID, we run a lot of workshops to help teachers. That's why we become popular actually. 2022, then we have a conference in Jogja. That's We put technology a little bit aside because we already inside the environment of technology. Everyone got a mobile, everyone surrounded by AI. We use AI, everyone use AI. AI has become our environment on that. So we look at, right now we're going to have a lot of sharing, look at human AI become the center, it's not the AI but more human. How to empower teachers and learners, not replacing the teachers with the AI, not replacing the resources from the AI, but we look at the potential of the teacher, we look at the pedagogy of the teacher. So that's all of the papers, like Fudian already reported that, and also the plenaries. We're going to look at more on promoting human-centered. That's we are surrounded by AI. That's what I can say. This is not my plenary, but I'm supposed to give a pidato. But I'm not very good in giving pidato, so this is me. Thank you very much, and enjoy the conference. Don't forget to come to our wonderful, thank you, Pak Rektor, our wonderful dinner tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next session will feature the keynote address, which will also officially declare this conference open. For the material will be presented by him, entitled Epistemisida Kemultikulturan, Distraksi Leksikal Budaya Tutur Masyarakat Bali dan Hakikat Ruang Digital.
Sambutan selanjutnya, sekaligus penyampaian materi dan membuka acara secara resmi akan disampaikan oleh keynote speaker Bapak Rektor Institut Agama Hindu Negeri Empu Kuturan, Profesor Dr. I Gede Swindia, SAG MA. Kami persilahkan.
Terima kasih atas waktunya Bapak dan Ibu. Izinkan saya pagi hari ini ada dua tugas. Pertama memberikan ucapan sambutan selamat datang, termasuk tadi bersama Pak Jati. Dan yang kedua sekaligus sebagai keynote speak nanti kami sampaikan dalam bahasa Inggris. Good morning, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Aum Swastiastu, Shalom, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Honorable President of iTELL and all of the member of the iTELL Association, Pak Jati and all of the friends. Honorable Representative of the Regional English Language Office, RILO, thank you for supporting us. Honorable Representative of English Course, Honorable invited speaker and presenters, Honorable Vice Rector and Dean of Institute Empu Kuturan, Honorable guests, researcher, educator, student, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor and pleasure to welcome all of you to the iTELL Conference 2026 at Empu Kuturan Institute. On behalf of Empu Kuturan Institute, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to iTELL Association, the Regional English Language Office, RILO, English Corps, our invited speakers, the organizing committee, our partners, and whole of participants for making this conference possible. Your collaboration reflects our shared commitment to advancing education through innovation, partnership, and mutual learning. As the host institution, we are honored to bring together scholars from different countries and backgrounds to discuss one important question: how can higher education remain meaningful in an era shaped by artificial intelligence? Today, I would like to share our perspective It is a perspective rooted in our local wisdom, yet relevant to global challenges. It is inspired by the philosophical that has guided generation in Bali and continues to offer valuable insight for the future. Allow me to share to transforming higher education in the age of artificial intelligence. Today, we live in extraordinary time. Artificial intelligence is changing the way we teach, the way we learn, the way we do research, and even the way we communicate. Every day we new technologies appears. Every day we opportunity also come with new challenges. The question is no longer, should higher education use artificial intelligence? The real question is, how should higher education use artificial intelligence wisely? Technology can make education faster, easier, and more accessible. But technology alone cannot make education meaningful. That responsibility still belongs to us, as educator, as researcher, as a human being. Ladies and gentlemen, artificial intelligence can answer questions. It can also summarize books. It can translate languages. It can even generate research ideas. But artificial intelligence cannot replace human wisdom. It cannot replace sympathy. It cannot replace integrity. And it cannot replace responsibility. That is why, as we transform higher education, we must not only develop smarter technology, we must also develop wiser people. This is where local wisdom becomes important. At Empu Kuturan Institute, we believe that local wisdom is not only our culture heritage, it is also a sort of knowledge for solving global challenges. One important example is Trikaya Parisuda. Trikaya Parisuda is a simple but powerful philosophy. It teaches us to think well, to speak well, and to act well. Although this philosophy comes from Balinese Hindu tradition, its values are universal. They can guide every educator, every student, and every university also. Today, I would like to share how Trikaya Parisuda can become a framework for transforming higher education in the age of artificial intelligence. The first principle is manajika. Manajika means red thinking. Before we use technology, we must first think wisely. Technology should never replace critical thinking. Instead, technology should strengthen critical thinking. Today, students can ask AI to answer almost every question. But university should not only teach students to use AI, university must teach students how to question AI, how to verify information, how to recognize bias, how to make ethical decisions. In other words, artificial intelligence should support human intelligence, not replace it. The second principle is wachika. Wachika means right speech. In today's world, communication happens everywhere. In classroom, online meeting, social media, and research publication. Technology gives us many ways to communicate, but it also gives us new responsibilities. We must communicate honestly, we must respect different opinions, we must protect academic integrity, we must use artificial intelligence responsibly. As educators, we should encourage students not only to produce information, but also to build understanding, trust, and collaboration. The third principle is kayika. Kayika means right action. Knowledge becomes valuable only when it creates positive impact. Technology should not stop in the classroom. Technology should improve society. Universities should encourage students to develop solutions, not only assignment, to solve community problem, not only at classroom problem, to create innovation, not only information. Artificial intelligence should help us create better education, better researcher, public services, and better future for everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, when these three principles come together, they create a simple but meaningful framework. Think wisely, communicate ethically, and responsibly. This is the spirit of Trikaya Parisuda. This is also the kind of higher education we need today. A university is not only a place to transfer of knowledge, it is a place to develop character. A university is not only a place to create technology, it is a place to create responsibility innovation. And a university is not only a place to prepare graduate for job, it is a place to prepare future leader for humanity. At Empu Kuturan Institute, we believe that future of higher education should combine three important strengths. First, the power of technology. Second, the reach of culture. And third, the strength of human values. When these three work together, education becomes more meaningful, innovation becomes more responsible, and graduates become more prepared for their future. Ladies and gentlemen, the future does not belong to those who simply use artificial intelligence. The future belongs to those who can use artificial intelligence with wisdom, with integrity, and with empathy. As universities, we have the responsibility to make sure that technology serves humanity, not the other way around. Let us build universities that are digitally advanced, ethically responsible, culturally rooted, and globally connected. Let us prepare graduates who are not only intelligent but also wise, not only innovative but also responsible, not only global competitive but also deeply connected to their culture value. I believe that local wisdom is not something that belongs only to the past. Local wisdom is a guide for the future. It reminds us to while technology continues to evolve, our value must continue to lead. Finally, I hope this conference will become a place where ideas are shared, friendship abide, and collaboration begin. May our discussion over the next 2 days inspire new research, new partnership, and new innovation for higher education around the world. Thank you for your being part of this journey, your commitment to education. Together we can shape a better future. I hope this conference will inspire new ideas, meaningful collaboration, and lasting partnership. I invite all of participants to actively engage in appreciation and enjoy the conference. It is now my pleasure to officially open the iTELL Conference 2026. I wish you all productive and successful conference. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Namo Buddhaya, Shalom, salam kebajikan, Aum, Santi, 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 Aum. 2026 officially open. Sebentar, tunggu sebentar, kita akan ada foto sesi foto bersama. Ya, di atas. Ya. Nah, jadi kita akan ada foto bersama. Dan beberapa narasumber, ya, silakan lanjutin lagi.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your inspiring keynote presentation.
Baiklah, demikian tadi telah kita dengarkan bersama penyampaian materi dari Bapak Profesor Dr. Igede Suindia SAG MA.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the group photo session. May I respectfully invite all the plenary speakers, members of the iTELL board and the university leadership to come forward and take their designated positions.
Bapak, Ibu, serta hadirin yang kami hormati, acara selanjutnya sesi foto bersama. Dengan hormat kami persilakan plenary speakers, iTELL board, serta pimpinan IMK untuk berkenan maju dan menempati posisi yang telah disediakan. Jadi foto bersama akan dibagi menjadi dua sesi. Sesi pertama para undangan di depan dan sesi kedua akan dibawa bersama seluruh hadirin. Foto pertama dengan gaya formal akan saya pandu dalam hitungan. Oke, ya silakan.
Bapak boleh ini dulu, nanti telepon masuk setelah.
Wah, saya sudah keburu maju ke depan.
Baiklah, saya pandu gaya formal dalam hitungan 3, 2, 1. Sekali lagi, 3, 2, 1. Ya, salam tangguh. Oke, begini Bapak. Iya. Iya. Baik, dalam hitungan 3, 2, 1. Ya, sekali lagi, once more. Salam empu kuturan, begini. Ya, oke. Dalam hitungan 3, 2, 1. Sekali lagi 3, 2, 1. Ya, iTELL board silakan, Bapak Ibu jajaran iTELL silakan dipersilakan untuk ke depan.
Nanti nunggu tadi udah keburu ke depan. Udah keburu malu.
Ya, saya pandu sekali lagi dalam hitungan 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Ya, salam tangguh lagi Bapak Ibu. Ya. Oke. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Oke. Ya, dipersilakan untuk di bawah sekarang foto, oke, bersama seluruh hadirin. Ya, bersama dengan seluruh audiens. Para ibu, bapak, para undangan dan hadirin dipersilakan untuk berdiri.
Turun, silakan kembali ke tempat. Menghadap sana ya? Ya. Kita menghadap.
Sudah? Ya, saya pandu sekali lagi. Ya, gaya formal dulu dalam hitungan 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Oke. Ya, baiklah, lanjut dengan salam tangguh biasa nggih Bapak Ibu. Ya. 3, 2, 1. Sekali lagi 3, 2, 1. Selanjutnya salam pukuturan semua Bapak Ibu begini ya. Nah. Oke, ya. 3, 2, 1. Sekali lagi 3, 2, 1. Dan pembuatan video yang terakhir Bapak Ibu, kami dari IMK punya jargon ya. Jadi ketika saya bilang IMK begitu, disautin dengan berkata gas, gas, gas gitu ya. Gasnya 3 kali ya. Jadi gas itu adalah singkatan dari Green Org Smart Spiritual Campus begitu. Yeay ya. Baik, akan saya pandu. Sudah siap ya video? Oke. IMK? Gas, gas, gas. Oke, terima kasih. Give applause to all of us. Ya, para hadirin sekalian, dipersilakan untuk duduk kembali.
Mr. Tika, move, improve.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the conclusion of our group photo session, we have also reached the end of today's opening ceremony.
Hadirin yang berbahagia, dengan berakhirnya sesi foto bersama, maka berakhir pula acara pembukaan kita hari ini. Kepada para undangan yang memiliki kepentingan lain, dapat meninggalkan tempat acara.
We will now continue with the plenary session. May I invite our moderator for today, Mr. Justinus Calvin, to kindly take over the session.
Acara selanjutnya adalah plenary session. Kepada moderator Bapak Justinus Calvin, kami persilahkan.
Cek. Ya, Om Swastiastu, Ibu Bapak, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. So good morning everyone. Yeah, good morning. Yeah, we are so happy and honored to welcome our speakers for the second plenary session. We have Dr. Juli Renandia. Brief information about Dr. Renandia. So he's a language teacher educator with extensive teaching experience in Asia. And he currently teaches language education courses in Singapore, including Nanyang Technological University and Singapore University of Social Sciences. He's also a visiting professor at some universities in Southeast Asia. And he also has given numerous keynote presentations at international ELT conferences around Asia, and published extensively in the area of second language education and second language acquisition. And his publications, I think this is one of the mostly cited publications, Dr. Juli, entitled Language Teaching Methodology and Anthology of Current Practices, published in 2002 by Cambridge University Press, and also Student Center Cooperative Learning, 2019 by Spring International. And we are also honored to welcome the second speaker, Dr. Flora Deborah Flores. Good morning, Dr. Flores. She's a lecturer in the English department at Petra Christian University, Indonesia, and her research focuses on language teacher professional development and technology use in language learning and English as international language. And her work has appeared in journals such as GALT Call Journal, Asian Englishes, and TESOL EJ, as well as in book chapters published by Routledge and Springer. And she also written for professional teaching magazines like Modern English Teachers. And Ibu Bapak, my name is Justinus Calvin, and I'll be the moderator for this session. So, Dr. Juli Renandia and Dr. Flora Deborah Flores, you may start your presentation. Thank you. Give big applause, Ibu Bapak. Thank you.
I'm going to be standing here. I want to be a little bit close to you, and I will follow the lead by my good friend, Mas Jati, in greeting you. How are you today? Don't stop. The next stop is How about you and you? So how are you today should be followed by and you. My topic today is very, very, very interesting. And I will start by asking you a question. Imagine that you are teaching writing to a group of students. My question is, would you allow your students to use AI? 3 options. Number 1, no. Number 2, yes. Number 3, yes, but. Which of the 3 would be your answer? How do you know the answer? Yes, the answer is yes, but. And today I'm going to tell you a story about why it is important for us to embrace AI, even in our writing class. But with one condition that, yes, you may use AI, but. And I'm going to share with you a number of ideas, and these are very simple ideas. And I want you to remember 3 things from my presentation this morning. And at the end of the session today, Pak Rektor is going to check if you remember the 3 points that I'll be sharing with you, okay? So 3 very important points why AI should be allowed in our teaching of writing, in our teaching of many other skills that you will be teaching right now or maybe in the future. My slide must. Very good, yes. So these are 3 ideas that I want to share with you. The first one is very straightforward. I would like us to sort of have a look at what we've been doing in terms of how we teach writing. And number 2 is the most important part of my presentation today, or our presentation today, why reading matters more now than ever before. So the second point is the most important key takeaway that I want you to remember, that reading is so, so important. It was important in the past, it is important today, and it's going to be even more important in the future. Pak Rektor mentioned about critical thinking. Pak Rektor mentioned about the idea that we should be using AI with wisdom and all that. How do you get critical thinking? How can you become critical thinking? Please answer through reading.
Reading.
Betul. And that is the answer. The only way, I think, the most effective way for you to be teaching critical thinking is reading. And I'm going to explain to you later why reading is so, so important. And the last point, my slides please. And the last point is about what does it all mean to you as a teacher, as a writing teacher. And my dear colleague from Petra Christian University, Ibu Dr. Flora Deborah Flores, will be explaining to you how we can make use of the ideas to sort of try to apply the ideas in your teaching. First off, now this part is very straightforward. I think you will all agree with me. These are the kind of things that we usually do in our teaching. First one, this is how writing has been taught. This is how writing was taught in the past, and this is how writing is being taught today, and hopefully not in the future. Yeah? The focus usually is on whether or not students' writing is good, perfect, no mistakes, no errors whatsoever. And your job is to read students' work and find errors, yes. Teachers are bad people. They are looking for errors all the time. We should not. In the future, I think we should pay more attention to other important things about writing. Yeah? Correction is important, but that is not the most important thing that you need to be worried about. Yeah? So students in your writing class often feel very anxious, very overly concerned about being able to write without making any grammatical or language-related errors. And that should not be the case in the future. here is a new writing classroom. I think many of you are already thinking about, many of you are already doing this, that now AI is there. And our job as a teacher is to help our students to make the best use of AI. How AI can be leveraged on, how AI can be used to help the students to write a good piece of writing. AI can quickly improve grammar. AI can suggest vocabulary that is relevant and appropriate. And AI, we all know, is very good at producing a first draft. But remember, the first draft is always not good yet. The second draft is always better. Ibu ini serius sekali sih. God created men and women, right? Which one was created first, man or woman? Well, man or woman? Man. Man. So man is your first draft. Pak Jati, please stand up. First draft. Budian, please stand up. Second draft. Better. So AI is very good at giving you the first draft, but the first draft needs improvement. So you need to get AI to give you the second and a better draft. So Budian, the second draft. So, in the future, or even now, I think you can start thinking about how you could pay less attention to the mechanics, to the surface level skill of writing, producing good sentences, making sure that the grammar is right and all that. But today we should focus more on ideas and communication, whether the ideas are relevant, whether the ideas are good, applicable, useful for other people. In other words, writing becomes more process-oriented. Process writing, as we all know, involves drafting, redrafting, and rewriting, and making sure that the final product is one that you really want to write and to pass on to other people. My slides only, please. And the last one, I think we all agree that with AI, if you agree that AI can be used or should be used, then you must, without exception, you must focus on teaching your students how to evaluate, how to assess, how to make sure that the information produced by AI is good, is accurate, is believable, is everything that you want to be included in your writing. So evaluating and revising content is what you need to be spending more time on. Okay? So, the changing role of students include being a partner, a co-author with AI, becoming critical thinkers, critically evaluating the output from AI. You don't just want to use the draft produced by AI just like that. You want to look at the draft very carefully, making sure that everything is in line with what you are thinking about. So the teaching of writing in the future is more to do with teaching students how to review, how to evaluate, and how to eventually edit the draft. So editing and reviewing becomes more important than ever before. The big question then is this: if AI can do it for you, what should you be teaching in your writing class? Option 1, no need to teach writing at all. Option 2, teach some writing skills. Which one? Please say number 2. If you give me number 1, I'm getting into a big problem because I need to explain why that is not the case. So you should continue to be teaching writing. But the basic foundational kind of writing skills that you need to focus on. Okay? Here are some examples. I think you have done this. So I'm going to go through this very quickly. Basic writing skills will still need to be taught to your students. Like writing, very simple sentences, writing or putting sentences in a paragraph, for example, that skill continues to be very important because you don't want to rely with AI or on AI all the time. How to organize ideas. That is easy for the readers to understand. Yeah, understanding the purpose, understanding the audience, that becomes more important today than ever before. Yeah, so these are a few other things that you need to focus on in your writing class. How to improve content, how to check whether the piece that they have written, whether it's academic papers, whether it's an email, whether it's anything that you write, whether it meets the requirement of a good piece of writing. And that good piece of writing usually has to follow or has to obey the very important principles in communication, which is PACC. P stands for purpose for writing. A stands for audience, who you are writing it to, young children, to your colleagues, to your bosses, and all this will determine the kind of writing that you want to produce. The next one is context. C is context. Context means whether it's in a formal classroom situation, whether it is an email, whether it's in social media writing and things like that. And culture, the last one, is how message is interpreted within the culture that you find yourself in. Yeah. A few more things about the kind of things that you need to be teaching your students. Number one is checking for biases. Yeah. Whether or not the information produced by AI is biased in a certain way. AI is based on a huge amount of data, and the data usually comes from the Western countries. So there are certain biases, certain ways of communicating that we may not usually want to be associated with. So you need to check that whether there is certain biases. Style and tone, that is another very important skill that you want to teach your students. Whether it's a formal kind of writing, whether it's a casual kind of writing, whether it is a semi-formal kind of writing, that is the kind of thing that you want to focus on. Tone is another very important thing. And very often you get, you read an email message from your students, the grammar is good, the vocabulary is good, but somehow you feel that, hey, my student is very rude. Yeah, because the tone is all wrong. Okay? So these are kind of things that you need to AI literacy, this is something that you need to be teaching our students. They may not be listening to you, they may not understand why, but you need to keep telling the students about the importance of AI literacy. Yeah. Point number one is that the ethical use of AI. If you are using AI completely, you have to tell people that this is produced completely by AI. Or you have to say that 50% of the ideas are mine, the other 50% are suggested by AI, for example. Understanding that AI has limitations, it has a lot of good points, but it also has limitations. You need to keep telling your students about all these things. And the last one is learning how to prompt. This is very important. It's not enough just to tell the students, here are some prompts that you should be using. That is not very straightforward, actually. In order for you to be able to prompt well, you need to have a vast amount of knowledge. You need to know what you want to ask AI to tell you, and you need to know exactly what you want to do with AI. So prompting is not very easy. And this idea is connected to the next part of my presentation. What else to teach, other than those that I've mentioned with you? Not yet, Auntie. Yes. Nanti, critical thinking is something that you have to teach, yeah? There's one very important thing that you have to teach. Your job as a teacher continues to be the same. Your job as an English language teacher is to help your students to develop sufficient level of English proficiency. And I would place that at B2. C1 if possible. If not, B2, B2 is good enough. And that is your main job. And later you'll understand why B2 is extremely important. The second point here is about L1 to L2. You may have seen people who are very good in writing in their first language. Menulis dalam bahasa Indonesia, menulis dalam bahasa Melayu misalnya. They're very good. But when it comes to menulis dalam bahasa Inggris, it's all over the place. Why is that? One reason is that that person does not or has not developed sufficient proficiency in the second language. So if you are able to develop your proficiency in the second language at the B2 level, I think a lot of the things that you have acquired in your L1, the first language, can transfer to the writing of the second language. Okay? So B2 becomes important. Let me ask you this question. No need to answer. What is your level of proficiency? B2? B3? B4? C1? C2? Ada sebuah penelitian yang sudah dilakukan oleh Kemendikbud sebetulnya beberapa tahun yang lalu involving some 10,000 plus English language teachers from different parts of Indonesia. The result, do you want to know the result? Yes. Buy me coffee. I'm good for 1 hour. I'll explain to you everything that you ever want to know about the English language proficiency of teachers from different provinces in Indonesia. It's not the whole country, but I think it's a good indication that we have a lot of homework to do. Yeah? It's not B2. It's not B1. No, I'm not saying that. You can make that inference yourself. It's not C1. It's not B2. It's not B1. No, I didn't say that. You said that. So you can make that conclusion. It's a bit disheartening. I mean, English language teaching, learning English is difficult? Not difficult? Ask Gavin. Do you speak English? No, he doesn't speak English. See? He shook his head. No, I don't speak English. English is so easy. You just need time, and I'm going to share with you the secret of improving language proficiency in my next slide. Yeah. This is why reading matters a lot. And I'm going to share with you 3 reasons why reading is important. I'm not talking about reading a small article. I'm not talking about reading one small book once a year. No, I'm talking about reading a lot, reading over a period of time, reading daily, reading frequently, reading because you like it, reading because you find enjoyment in it. That is the kind of reading that I'm thinking about. Yeah, so there are 3 points here that I'm going to share with you. Okay? First one. There's more than enough research evidence to show you that reading is one of the most powerful way for people to improve on their language proficiency. Either if you want to improve your Bahasa Indonesia, reading is the way to go. If you want to improve your English language proficiency, reading is to go. Bu Ivan is here. Bu Ivan will say that in addition to reading, you also need to do a lot of listening as well. And let me share with you the relationship between listening and speaking, reading and writing. The relationship is very well established. If you want to have wonderful pronunciation, then you have to do a lot of listening. If you want to be able to write fluently, coherently, and well, you need to do a lot of reading. Okay? So, the research is very clear. If you do this on a regular basis, I think within 1 year, you'll be able to get to B2. If you're already a B2 person, I think within 1 year, you'll be able to get to C1. 1 year. Do you want proof? Invite me again next year. and I'll give you a test, free of charge. You just need to pay for my, travel from Denpasar to Singaraja. It's a wonderful ride, actually. Singaraja, Denpasar to Singaraja. It took me about 4.5 hours. Beautiful scenery. The weather is nice. Yeah. So essentially, research is very clear. Here is one quote from this guy. Name is Alan Maley, very senior specialist, English language specialist from the UK. A good friend of mine. I think he knows me and I know him as well. This is what he says. Reading, extensive reading, that is regular reading, is perhaps, remember these people usually never tell you, this is the only way, no. They will use words like perhaps, maybe, but actually what they are saying is, this is it. This is the way. Yeah? And the people there on the photos are people who will agree with me. Wu Yifan is sitting at the back there, and then Ibu Chin Yi is my colleague from NIE. She is doing a lot of extensive reading research, and the other two ladies there from Yogyakarta, they also believe in the importance of reading. If you believe in the importance of reading, please raise your hand and send me your photograph. I will put your photo next time on my slide. Free of charge. If you do it before the end of today, it's free. Okay? So I'm showing pictures like this so that you can relate to them. These are real people, and they will tell you exactly what I just said to you. This is a bit from research. The number one guy, professor or scholars in relation to extensive reading is that professor. Name is Richard Day, and this is what he has been saying for many, many years. Does anyone want to read this for the whole class? For the whole audience? Ibu mau mencoba membaca? Dengan suara keras, Ibu ya?
Okay, thank you. Good things happen to students who read a great deal in the foreign language. Recent studies show that become okay, thank you. Can I repeat? Good things happen to students who read a great deal in the foreign language. Research studies show they become better and more confident readers. They write better, their listening and speaking abilities improve, and their vocabularies get richer.
Clap, 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 please, for this info. In one sentence, what does it say? Dalam sebuah kalimat, Ibu, artinya apa? Reading makes writing better. It's not just writing, it makes everything, basically. Yeah. This is the second point. So the first one is reading and proficiency development. You become better in speaking, you become better in reading, you become better in listening, you become better in grammar and everything else. The second point about reading is this, the relationship between reading and writing. I mentioned earlier on that reading is an important precondition for you to become a good writer. And this is another important quote that I would like to share with you. Just pay attention to the highlighted words. Reading, if you do a lot of reading, what happens is everything that you ever need later when you start writing is already there. You just need to step back a little bit and pay attention. Oh, that is how they start the story. In that start, they start the first sentence. And in a story, the sentence always goes, once upon a time.
Yes.
Gitu. Once upon a time is the first sentence, right, Bu? Now the second sentence. Yeah. There lived a beautiful, yes. This is what happens if you have read a story 100 times. It will be very easy for you to start writing a story, but not before. Okay? Now let me just elaborate a little bit more. Yes, reading is important. Yes, but there are 3 different types of reading that you need to be aware of. The first, this is known as the conduit hypothesis. Conduit means one step after another. One step is the building block to the next step. It's known, the technical bahasa kerennya adalah the conduit hypothesis. The first step is known as reading for pleasure. This is what happens if you read for pleasure. You read because you like it, and you tend to be reading the same kind of genre. Usually stories, because stories are interesting and super exciting too. And at this stage, I think you develop your initial proficiency in the language. Yeah? And your writing skills begin to develop. Not very good yet, but I think you can start writing. At least you can sense whether a piece of writing that you see is okay or not okay. So that's the first step. You cannot skip this step, because this step is the building block to the second one. And the second one is known as reading for general knowledge. You need to read more. You need to widen your reading. You need to read a wider range of genres. Fiction, non-fiction. This is how you start accumulating a lot of information about places, about history, about democracy, about how to manage your money, and how to deal with your students, how to deal with difficult husbands, for example. These are all very useful knowledge that you need to have. Yeah? If you read something about family problems and you don't have this lot of knowledge about how, men and women relate to each other at home, you will not be able to make sense of what is happening. Okay? Why do you laugh just now? Because you have cannot edit the first draft. Okay. This is where knowledge becomes important. So the first stage is proficiency development. Second stage is you start expanding. You start building a wider knowledge base. And that knowledge base becomes so important later when you start communicating with other people, both in speaking or in writing. The next stage is rahasia besar. The next stage is one that you need if you want to get published in Scopus. Essentially, that is what it means. Yeah? Yeah. You have to pick a topic of your interest, and then you go deep into it. Spend like 1 whole year, if you have the time, reading on something that is of interest to you. Technology in language teaching, mobile-assisted language teaching, for example, or AI or whatever. Any topic of your interest, you have to go deeper into that. And that is how you develop specialized knowledge and also specialized genre for writing that particular kind of genre. Okay? Where are you now? I know you are here. Are you in stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3? Stage 1, 2, or 3? Stage 2. Very good. Yes, please carry on. So, in other words, this is what research is telling us, yeah? Good readers, or reading provides strong language models. You have seen how writing is done by other people, and then you sort of build, a schema in your head about that model. And after a while, you begin to internalize the kind of style, organization of that piece of writing, and eventually your writing ability improves a great deal. So that is the connection between reading and writing. The last one is about critical thinking. With sufficient proficiency in that language and a very strong knowledge base, you are now in a much better position to think critically, to be able to assess and evaluate output produced by AI. Yeah? Okay. I hope you remember the first part of my presentation is about how writing is usually done. And going forward, I think we need to pay more attention to things that we have not given a lot of emphasis in the future, like communication, content, and style and tone of writing. Yeah, in the context of students using AI in their writing class. And the second part of my presentation is about how reading becomes so important today than ever before. Yes, you need to continue to teach writing, but reading should become a more important foundation for your students. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome my colleague, Ibu. What's your name again? Ibu Flora.
This one, Pak. Okay. So my session is about the practical implications or some suggested activities for the teachers, and I'm going to do it very quickly so that Pak Willy can continue his speech. Ya Pak ya. Okay. Slides please. Hah? Gak bisa Pak, itu video. Okay. So as Pak Willy said, in this era sekarang ini, AI can help students. So AI can produce draft within seconds. AI can help the students to correct the grammars, can help the students to develop their ideas, organize their ideas. So the question is writing instruction still important? And do we, writing teachers, still have a job? That's the questions, right? But to enable students to produce good writing draft, complete project, teachers need, teach students still need to learn how to develop their ideas, how to choose the topics, for example, how to develop their ideas, how to support support their arguments by having references or citations. So in short, writing instruction is still needed, but maybe there is a shift or there is a changing in writing instructions, and students also need to evaluate the AI draft. So to be able to give evaluation or judgments, it means that they need to have a large or a big portion of knowledge, language knowledge, also general knowledge about the topic. So that's why reading becomes important. Okay. Right. Reading should become the central again. So I think in the current years, perhaps we put reading as a separate activities. It always ends with a list of reading comprehension exercises. So many students feel that reading is very difficult, perhaps, or it is not the central of the language classrooms. But to enable them to produce good writing in the AI era, I think reading should become the central game. Okay, let me just go with the samples of the activities. So first one, Pak Willy and I proposed 3 strategies. The first one is to integrate the extensive reading. As Pak Willy said earlier, extensive reading is different from intensive reading. In intensive reading, students read only perhaps one text for everybody in the classrooms with the same topic. Rather difficult text, kalau nggak susah, bukan reading namanya, right? And then they also need to have at the end of the lessons, they need to have a set of reading exercises, true or false, multiple choice, short answers, things like that. But it's different from extensive reading. Extensive reading is something that you give to the students, and the students can choose the variety of reading materials. What else? Various reading materials, so the students can choose depending on their language proficiency. The students can also choose the reading materials that have the topics that make them interested. The idea is to build the reading habit. So if they love reading, they probably will do it voluntarily, like irregularly. So one of the activities that we can do is probably to have a short reading time regularly, like say 5 minutes or 10 minutes before the lesson begins, then we give them something to read together. But we need to provide various texts so that they can choose whatever they want. Another activity is probably, what else? To have the students not to do a set of exercise activities like reading comprehensions, but probably something which is more simpler. Like for example, ask the students to provide 1 minute summary, for example. So the focus is not on evaluating whether they really understand the text or not, but it's the process. So train them to love reading. Jadi jangan dikasih exercise yang semakin lama semakin susah gitu mungkin, because if they feel demotivated, then probably they will say that this reading is too difficult for me. I don't want to keep reading or continue my reading lessons. So less check and more reading. Let them do simple activities, like for example that 1 minute summary. Another one probably, apalagi ya? Let's say ask the students to choose one of the expressions or statement from the reading text and tell us why they like or disagree with that. So those kinds of activities, the idea is extensive reading should be there in your regular classrooms, even in writing classrooms. Okay. Now the second one. This one is critical AI literacy, something that Pak Willy has discussed earlier as well. So AI literacy means, in simple words, when to train the students to know how to use AI, how to use it. So we can do something like, for example, ask the students to compare the AI text, so text produced by AI, and compare it with the human text. The idea is not saying that human text is always right and the AI text is always wrong. No, that's not the idea. The idea is to train the students to evaluate any text that they have. Jadi terserah mau dibuat AI, mau dibuat human, but you need to be able to evaluate the text that you have in front of you. The idea is AI draft is, like Pak Willy says, the first draft. You, the students, as the writer, need to have responsibility that this is not the final product, and I have to recheck and recheck and recheck again so that it will become a good product as the final product. So back to the idea again. So comparing, let's say, AI text and the human written text, we teachers need to give them a set of guidelines or checking lists, seperti checking gitu. For example, is the message clear for both texts? Are there any references to support these opinions for both texts? So they need to evaluate both texts. So not only the AI text, but both texts. The idea is, again, to train the students to be able to evaluate any text in front of them. Okay. Another thing is, of course, to discuss the AI use, the ethical AI use. Like, for example, when to use AI, how to use it, and how not to use it. So sometimes the students think that it happens in my classes. Like, for example, they think that this is good because grammatically the text is good. No language errors because this is made by AI. So they think that a text that has no grammatical errors, it means that the text is good. But in fact, it is not, right? Because as Pak Willy said, we need to evaluate the text based on, for example, the purpose, the audience, the cultures, the context, things like that. So we need to be able to raise the awareness of the students that a text with no grammatical error doesn't mean that the text is good. Something like that. Another activity is probably to ask the students to check the original sources. So AI often gives, like references for us. I think in the past, the AI tools provided like lots of hallucinations, jadi fake references, but nowadays I think they are becoming smarter. So if you check Google Scholar, it's there already. But sometimes it's not accurate, it's not correct. For example, let's say Pak Willy and I write some papers together, and somebody cited our paper, okay? And it appears in my ResearchGate account. Oh, this person cited Pak Willy's and Flora's paper. And then I look at the way they put my name and Pak Willy's name over there, and it is not something that I said in my paper. If you get what I mean. So I'm just wondering, kapan saya pernah nulis seperti ini? I never use that citation or statements in my paper, but it appears. So I think it's kerjaannya AI, right? But if you check the reference, my paper is there. It's not fake. So one of the activities that we suggest is for the students to go into the original sources, read the paper, the original paper, and then go to the AI text and check, bener apa enggak. Now, that's when reading becomes very important, because if you just how to say that? If you just say, or if you just agree to whatever the AI say, and you never check the sources, and you do not have good reading good reading skills, then it will become useless. So again, in this part, reading still plays an important role. Okay, the last one. Number 3, the idea students need to write something, but they need to have something in their head. So they cannot come to the writing class and do the writing assignments with the empty head. That's the basic idea. So what we need to do is to build the knowledge first. We often see, I think we all experience that some students are struggling with their writing because they don't know what to write. Like for example, if you give a certain topic and they are not familiar with that, jadinya mereka nggak bisa nulis, and that's very logic, right? I mean, if I have to write something outside my expertise, then I will not have saya tidak bisa nulis, walaupun mungkin tulisan saya bagus, but I cannot write anything because I know nothing about the topic. So that's the basic idea. So you need to build the background knowledge first. For example, you assign a topic on argumentative writing, but before we do this, let's the students have some short text. Tidak perlu panjang-panjang, just short text but various text on argumentative writing and with the same topic, more or less. So that after that you ask the students to identify how the writers, each of the paper, convey their arguments, support their opinions by having evidences or citations or resources, things like that. So you build the topic knowledge of the students. And after that, okay, now you ask the students to write on that topic based on the assigned reading, so that they know, they have the idea, right? And you can also add if you want to, like for example, identify the language pattern, because maybe for argumentative writing it's different from writing for descriptive writing might be different. Okay, so now the students have the topic knowledge, they have the language knowledge. Now that's reading, right? So reading is the input for writing. So let them write. Okay. Some of the students may come for asking for help from AI. Okay, so here comes the first draft created by the students and the AI. But we need to remind them that it is just a draft. The final product is something else. So what they need to do is, again, to for example, comparing the AI text with the assigned reading text, the ones that we asked them to do earlier. So let's take a look at the AI text or the draft. For example, are the references cited correctly? Are the statements cited correctly? So you compare the writing draft and the assigned reading text. So that's one of the ways. If there is, and then you can also ask questions like something, is there anything that AI or the draft produce or write which is not published or not written in the reading text? So this is to prove that AI sometimes can go beyond what we need. Although maybe the prompt is correct, but they sometimes, like to teach us, right? So pinteran gitu kan. So they go beyond the text or the task. So that's revise, and then ask the students to revise. So that's some of the exegesis activities.
So I hope you remember the 3 points that we have shared with you. The first one is what is happening now in our writing class, and the second one is how we can add, and not just add, but make reading an important part of your writing class. And finally, we have offered some suggestions for you. If you have any questions, according to Mas Jati, we can ask your questions outside over coffee. You buy, not me. Kevin, back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So once again, give a big applause for Dr. Willy and Dr. Flora. Okay. So one quick summary. So Pak Willy and Bu Flora challenged us to be a better writing teacher, not looking for grammatical errors in our students' writing, but preparing them to be ready to write in English well and ethically in this age of AI era. Thank you very much, Pak Willy and Bu Flora. Once again, give a big applause for them. Yeah, thank you. All right. So, quick announcement from the committee. So we'll have at the next session, I think until 11. So you will have coffee break 11 till 11:15, and after that we'll start power session 11:15 until 12, and then we'll have the we'll have the lunch a little bit 15 minutes late. Okay. Okay. All right, and now I would like to invite the third keynote speaker for today. We have Kevin McCoy, the director of the Regional English Language Office or RILO. Quick introduction. Kevin McCoy is the Regional English Language Officer for Indonesia, now in his 13th year of service as RILO. And he has previously served in Ukraine, South Africa, Serbia, and Uzbekistan. Kevin has 2 MA degrees in creative writing and in teaching English to speakers of foreign languages. And he has offered teacher training sessions in 40 countries. He organized American English First webinar series in 2009 and was the primary designer of the publication Activated Games for Learning American English. And his hobbies include, this is interesting, ladies and gentlemen, reading a push scooter and sitting in coffee shops, similar to what Pak Willy likes, yeah, Pak, drink coffee. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to give a applause to Kevin McCoy. Sorry if I mispronounce your name, Kevin.
That's okay.
Okay. You may start.
Okay, am I using do I need to use a microphone or can I go without one? Do you need it for the recording?
No, we don't need any recording, I think. So, up to you which one is comfortable for you.
Then I go without a microphone because I like to engage my audience. Nice to meet you, everyone. My name is Kevin McCoy. I work at the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta. It's the capital of Indonesia. Oh, you've been here before. Okay, it's great to
Yeah. Hello. My name's Elvis Presley. How you doing, darling? I have to use this so people can hear me in the next room. So, hey, people in the next room, we are drawing an island. Okay, let's see how everyone's doing. I see an island and a volcano. Great. You have 4 volcanoes? Okay. Volcanoes, sir? Okay, great. Now, also put a sun in the sky. Please put a sun in the sky. Your island is the shape of a butterfly. That's cool. Okay, put a bird in the sky. And finally, put a tree on your island. While Willie was talking about comprehension, this is kind of a dictation. Okay, are you ready? Now I'd like you to put a boat in the water. Put 2 birds in the sky. Good. And put a building on your island. You have a lot of volcanoes. You must be from Indonesia. Nice island. Uh-huh. Good. All right, next I would like you to put a sea creature in the water. Yeah, it can be a fish, a turtle, a shark. You choose. Put something in the water. What kind of creatures do you have around your island? A dolphin? You choose. Okay, in the sky, coming to visit your island, draw a plane or a helicopter. You choose an airplane or a helicopter. Sure you can. It doesn't have to be a good drawing. Okay, and finally, give a name to your volcano. What is the name? Write the word. Okay, next. There is a sign on your island. A big sign. What does it say on the sign? Okay, draw the sign and write the words. Huh? It can be the name of the island. It can be Selamat Datang. It can be Go Away. You decide. Okay. And now the last. Add yourself. Where are you? On the island? On the beach? In the water? In the sky?
about yourself? In writing or in picture? You choose. Great question. You can write a detail about yourself or draw. Perhaps you are not alone. Now, I would like you have just drawn your own island. Hold it up and show me your island. Look at that. That's 90% of the people in this classroom. In this room. Just a minute. Hi. Hi, everybody. Can you hold up your island picture? Was anyone drawing? Okay, one person. One person in this room is drawing. There's a valuable lesson for teachers. We must be looking at people. It helps for them to do when we monitor. Okay, thank you everybody for activity number 1. Now, very quickly, I would like you to tell me, not to talk with your neighbor, what did you do in this activity? He drew. Draw. Good verb. Yeah. You listened. You used the imagination. Invented. Okay. You followed instructions. Listen, comprehend. Positioning. Yes. You had to put things in certain places. Good. Anything else? Interpret. Yes. Anything else? Watch. Yeah. Okay. Someone back there said something. Revise. Did you revise? Okay, good. Wondering. Okay, those are good verbs. Thank you. You also were able to choose. I said you choose. And I also said you decide sometimes. So choice and to choose and to decide were both things that you were able to do. All right, keep that in mind. Let's contrast this with the classic classroom. Voila! Every classroom I studied in looked like this. From my grade school to graduate workshops. And it was like this. The teacher said, "What do you think Mark Twain is saying here?" And one student goes. Okay, so let's examine the classic classroom. What are the students doing? Sitting. They're definitely sitting. Most people said listening. Okay, that's fair. I don't know if I have evidence that they're listening, but that's fair. What else are the students doing? Looking at the teacher. Yeah. Talking. Paying attention. You are very optimistic teachers. I mean, I can look like this girl,
in a class all day long. And I'm thinking, see, when I get home, first I have to do this. Okay. Paying attention. Good. There's no evidence, but that's okay. If you look at your island, and I think of what you did, I have absolute evidence of what you drew, how you listened, how you interpreted, decisions that you made. I have evidence of every one of you, except those of you who decided not to take part. But you also had that decision. It was yours. This is the myth of participation. We face a room and we believe everyone can listen, everyone can hear. I have no evidence about you in the back room. You might be writing a poem, texting your relatives. I have no evidence. Unless we make you do things in the classroom. Do things. This is my passion that students always must do. Here we look at the picture dictation, the island, versus the classic teacher asks a question. And we see all the advantages of this picture dictation. It's visible what you are doing. What I love is that you leave with an artifact, with evidence. Teacher questioning, there's almost no evidence of the level of participation. But we have the myth because one or two students say, teacher, and they give good answer. So we interpret this to mean the class. But it is an illusion. Okay, let's jump into the classic digital tool. I'm going to take a low-tech poll. This is called the stand-up poll. If you have used Kahoot in the classroom or played it, please stand up. No? Kahoot, never played it? Yeah, if you've used it in your class or played it, never played Kahoot, you're young. Wow. I'm so glad that Relo invested money in Kahoot. Okay, you may sit down now. So good. This makes a great barometer for us to compare. How are we doing for time? Okay. Now I'm going to do another standing poll, very high tech. I will ask you how you feel about Kahoot from 1 to 5 ranking. 1 is going to be, I don't like it too much. And 5 is going to be, it's great. So I will give you a few seconds to think about where you stand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you vote twice, that's your choice. Thinking about Kahoot. All right, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand if you feel that Kahoot is, I don't like it too much. All right. 2, it's all right. 3, it's good. 2, okay. it's really good. Okay, great. And 5, it's great. There's no greats in here. Oh, that casts gloom over the rest of my presentation. All right. So now, what does Kahoot do? What do students do when they play Kahoot? Hmm? They respond. Uh-huh. Good answer. I want to hear verbs. What do they do? They recall information. They recognize. Uh-huh. They remember. Uh-huh. They remember and recall and press a button. They compete. It's very gamified, which is good, right? They engage. It's very engaging. Making decisions. Okay, they make a decision. It's always a decision between 4 things, right? Or maybe 2. Okay. Anything else? Let's look at our comparison chart. So Kahoot does some things very well. It gets most of the class to participate, right? And we have visible participation and evidence. We see results. And we want everyone to participate. That's students doing. It even gives us response data. We can have data. So this is why it's popular. It's fast, it involves everyone. And that's very valuable in a classroom, involving everyone. Where it's limited, it's generally a multiple choice quiz, right? It doesn't produce extended language. Students don't get to invent or decide or choose their own path. And you can see the places that are limited or missing. So if we look at Bloom's taxonomy, these are all sort of at the bottom, not the higher order thinking skills. But it's very popular. For these reasons, it's really good at that. I feel like it might not always be fair, because if we use phones, some don't connect that very well. Yeah. So it can be discouraging, but people seem to love it. Now I'm going to return you to the beginning of this presentation, the island dictation. And I tried to show a number of things in this dictation in about 4 or 5 different levels. So first is recognize, comprehend. If I say draw a bird, I can see, yeah, she has a bird, she drew a bird. If I say draw a sun in the upper left corner, I can see every student is involved or not. And that's listening comprehension. So that's what I would do with a lower level group. But then I would move verb to interpret. Someone said the word interpret here. And that's when I started adding things like draw two birds, a boat. So you are getting a little bit of a choice. I said add a sea creature. You interpret now. So we're shifting the cognitive load on the learner from repeat from the teacher and beginning to create. We are giving the student choice, creativity, and power. Normally the teacher says what to do, but here we change it. And then I asked you one step further, create meaning. Asked you to name your volcano. Put a sign on your island. What does it say? I don't know. Now I have 100 different answers in the classroom. You are allowed to bring meaning to this activity. And then at last, I wanted you to personalize it. I said, add yourself. This is your island. So I use this activity as an illustration. Is this familiar to you? So you'll see we often say students need to be independent. And then we tell them what to do. Or, like in Kahoot, we give them the one answer that they can choose to succeed. Critical reasoning, creativity, mutual cooperation. We need students to do activities if they are ever going to achieve these results, right? So the entire point of my brief presentation is I want students to do things in a large classroom. Whether it's technology or not, we must examine that technology. Does it allow students to do, to practice, and succeed? If you think my dictation activity, the island is for children, I would use it with university students, graduate students. Let me show you. Here's one I do very often, low level, beach, sea, sky. Okay. We tell perhaps young learners what to draw, they draw. Listening comprehension. There we go. It even works in a webinar. I do this, you'll see she drew an airplane, a boat. Sometimes I have people draw people according to the dictation, but I allow choices too. Put something in the person's left hand, and they chose a flower. What about a higher level? Could it work? What is this? It's a cockpit. Yeah, that's a 757, I'm sure you all recognize. So if I worked with pilots, as I did last year for Uzbekistan Airlines, that's a very high-level niche group. But I can say, we're going to do a drawing dictation. Please draw the first officer's yoke in the right quadrant. You probably can't do that, but they can. They know exactly what I'm saying. And it's great language practice and thinking practice for them. And then we draw and we end up with something like this. So finally, I think it's great for us to share. And I hope it works, but I would like to invite you to be part of the Museum of Mysterious Islands. All you have to do is take a photo of your island. Let's see if it works. Oh yeah, it's working. And so I invite you to take a photo of your island and upload it into Canva. Find a blank page, put it on the blank page there, and we can visit in this museum everyone else's island. Yes, island. There is the evidence of our doing, the evidence of our learning. We took a low-tech activity and we finally used a little digital technology to share. Not all technology has to be tech from start to finish, right? We use it in the way that is best for our students. So my one takeaway, whether we're using technology like Kahoot or something else, or an in-classroom activity, always designed so that students are doing something much more than you are. See if I can get back to this. I invite you to follow the U.S. Embassy Instagram, and you'll see handouts for American English, which is a website. They have them out there. All the materials there are free for you to download, to search, to use. And finally, I want to announce a program we have here in Singaraja. We will have next year. It's called Access Career English. We're looking for 2 or 3 teachers here in Singaraja for this program. Starts March 27th, but there'll be training beforehand. And here is the QR code if you would like to join our WhatsApp. If you're a teacher here in Singaraja, it says, this could be cool. Join our WhatsApp and we will let you know. And now, I am very grateful to be here at Institut for the second time this year. So thank you very much for having me. It's been great talking to you, and I hope that you will enjoy the rest of this fantastic conference. It's always a pleasure to work with Indonesian educators. Thank you all so much. Keep doing things.
Kevin, thank you so much for your presentation. Everyone, once again, give a big applause for Kevin McCauley. Yeah, thank you. So, I think Kevin is still around here, and please ask him questions after the coffee break or lunch, okay? And after this, I think we will have a short coffee break, 15 minutes, and be back 11:15 to have the next keynote session. Thank you very much, and we would like to invite Pak Willy, Bu Flora, and Pak Kevin to come in front and I would like to invite Pak Jatian Budian ya. Okay. Okay, first I would like to invite Budian to give the gift for Pak Willy and Bu Flora. And I would like to invite Pak Jati.
I will. You mean figuratively or literally? Okay.
Budian, probably a quick photo. Do we have?
Sorry, I've got to go to another session right now.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. We're okay?
Okay. Okay, thank you very much everyone. Terima kasih. Kita jumpa di sesi berikutnya. My name is Calvin. Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Profesor Dr. I Kampus IMK MA telah membawa perubahan besar dalam perkembangan Institut Agama Hindu Negeri Empu Kuturan. Seluruh langkah pembangunan kampus ini sejalan dengan arah yang tertuang dalam Rencana Induk Pengembangan tahun 2020 hingga 2044 dan Rencana Strategis tahun 2020 hingga 2024. Dalam bidang infrastruktur, berbagai gedung megah kini berdiri kokoh di lingkungan kampus. Gedung jurusan Dharma Acarya, Dharma Duta, Brahma Widya, dan Dharma Sastra telah rampung dibangun dan kedepannya akan difungsikan sebagai gedung 4 fakultas. Selain itu, asrama mahasiswa berkapasitas 280 orang berhasil diwujudkan berkat kerjasama dengan Kementerian Pekerjaan Umum dan Perumahan Rakyat atau PUPR. Perkembangan pesat juga tampak di kampus Jalan Kresna, tempat berdirinya gedung pasca sarjana. Gedung ini dilengkapi fasilitas pembelajaran yang modern dan memadai untuk mendukung perkuliahan program magister dan doktor. Rencana pembangunan akan terus berlanjut di tahun 2026 meliputi gedung kuliah, tempat suci, tembok penyingkar dan landscape atau penataan halaman. Untuk menunjang pembelajaran yang adaptif terhadap perkembangan teknologi, Profesor Swindia telah membangun berbagai laboratorium unggulan. Di antaranya adalah Pura Agung Empu Kuturan yang menjadi pusat spiritual kampus dan mencerminkan kekhasan budaya Buleleng. Smart Classroom, Lab Pariwisata, Lab Komunikasi MKTV, Lab Nyastra, serta Lab Seni Panggung Terbuka. Fasilitas terakhir ini bahkan telah digunakan dalam kegiatan Buleleng International Return Festival tahun 2025, sebuah kegiatan seni bertaraf internasional yang mendapat dukungan dari UNESCO. Pada tahun 2025, kampus ini juga menuntaskan pembangunan gedung layanan akademik yang representatif. Gedung tersebut dilengkapi dengan restoran, kamar hotel, ruang meeting, serta berbagai ruang pelayanan akademik lainnya yang menunjang aktivitas-aktivitas akademika. Saat ini, IHN Empu Kuturan telah memiliki 18 program studi, terdiri atas 13 program sarjana, 3 program magister, 1 program profesi, dan 1 program doktor. Seluruh program studi tersebut telah memperoleh akreditasi baik hingga unggul, menunjukkan kualitas dan kredibilitas akademik yang terus meningkat. Berbagai capaian ini menjadi bukti nyata bahwa di bawah kepemimpinan Profesor Swindia, Institut Empu Kuturan berkembang pesat menjadi kampus yang modern, religius, dan berkarakter budaya. Pembangunan yang berlandaskan nilai-nilai Dharma dan kearifan lokal Bali Utara ini memperkuat posisi Institut Empu Kuturan sebagai lembaga pendidikan tinggi Hindu yang berkomitmen membangun peradaban dan mencetak generasi unggul berlandaskan spiritualitas, ilmu pengetahuan, dan kebudayaan. Profesor Dr. I Kampus IMK MA telah membawa perubahan besar dalam perkembangan Institut Agama Hindu Negeri Empu Kuturan. Seluruh langkah pembangunan kampus ini sejalan dengan arah yang tertuang dalam Rencana Induk Pengembangan tahun 2020 hingga 2044 dan Rencana Strategis tahun 2020 hingga 2024. Dalam bidang infrastruktur, berbagai gedung megah kini berdiri kokoh di lingkungan kampus. Gedung jurusan Dharma Acarya, Dharma Duta, Brahma Widya, dan Dharma Sastra telah rampung dibangun dan kedepannya akan difungsikan sebagai gedung 4 fakultas. Selain itu, asrama mahasiswa berkapasitas 280 orang berhasil diwujudkan berkat kerjasama dengan Kementerian Pekerjaan Umum dan Perumahan Rakyat atau PUPR. Perkembangan pesat juga tampak di kampus Jalan Kresna, tempat berdirinya gedung pasca sarjana. Gedung ini dilengkapi fasilitas pembelajaran yang modern dan memadai untuk mendukung perkuliahan program magister dan doktor. Rencana pembangunan akan terus berlanjut di tahun 2026 meliputi gedung kuliah, tempat suci, tembok penyingkar dan landscape atau penataan halaman. Untuk menunjang pembelajaran yang adaptif terhadap perkembangan teknologi, Profesor Swindia telah membangun berbagai laboratorium unggulan. Di antaranya adalah Pura Agung Empu Kuturan yang menjadi pusat spiritual kampus dan mencerminkan kekhasan budaya Buleleng. Smart Classroom, Lab Pariwisata, Lab Komunikasi MKTV, Lab Nyastre, serta Lab Seni Panggung Terbuka. Fasilitas terakhir ini bahkan telah digunakan dalam kegiatan Buleleng International Return Festival tahun 2025, sebuah kegiatan seni bertaraf internasional yang mendapat dukungan dari UNESCO. Pada tahun 2025, kampus ini juga menuntaskan pembangunan gedung layanan akademik yang representatif. Gedung tersebut dilengkapi dengan restoran, kamar hotel, ruang meeting, serta berbagai ruang pelayanan akademik lainnya yang menunjang aktivitas-aktivitas akademika. Saat ini, IHN Empu Kuturan telah memiliki 18 program studi, terdiri atas 13 program sarjana, 3 program magister, 1 program profesi, dan 1 program doktor. Seluruh program studi tersebut telah memperoleh akreditasi baik hingga unggul, menunjukkan kualitas dan kredibilitas akademik yang terus meningkat. Berbagai capaian ini menjadi bukti nyata bahwa di bawah kepemimpinan Profesor Swindia, Institut Empu Kuturan berkembang pesat menjadi kampus yang modern, religius, dan berkarakter budaya. Pembangunan yang berlandaskan nilai-nilai Dharma dan kearifan lokal Bali Utara ini memperkuat posisi Institut Empu Kuturan sebagai lembaga pendidikan tinggi Hindu yang berkomitmen membangun peradaban dan mencetak generasi unggul berlandaskan spiritualitas, ilmu pengetahuan, dan kebudayaan.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, this is still morning? Okay, every time is morning. Okay, let me start our session, yeah, before we going to the next session too. Okay, good morning all, yeah, distinguished speaker, respected lecturer, participant and guests. It is my pleasure to welcome you in this seminar session. My name's Ari Dwi Jayanti. All of you can call me Made Ari or sometimes my students call me Miss J. Yeah. I'm from Institut Agama Hindu Negeri Empukuturan Singaraja. My focus in Old Javanese Language Department or Southeast Asian Studies. And I'm honored to serve as a moderator for this session. Before we begin, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to everyone for joining us today. We are privileged to have an outstanding speaker who will share valuable insight and experience with us. Without further ado, let us begin today's session. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to introduce our speaker today. Mr. Warid Mihad, PhD, is a senior lecturer. He is senior lecturer in University Technology Mara. Yeah. Yesterday, I would like to try to find him. Yeah, and wow, it's amazing for me because I'm from Old Javanese language, really minority language in Southeast Asia. So where he coordinates the corporate communication unit, active in PECHAL and MLETA. Yeah, if I'm wrong, sorry. He holds a journal director role from the English teacher and the Malaysian Journal of ELT Research. With over 15 years of experience, 15 years of experience, he advanced technology enhanced language learning and evidence-based pedagogy in Malaysia. He is also a researcher, conference presenter, and prolific author. All of you can communication with him in Warid Mihad at UITM EduMI. So, Mr. Warid, please join in welcoming our distinguished speaker. The floor is yours.
Right, thank you very much, Miss J. To be honest, you look exactly like another Miss J, Melta. I will introduce you to her after this, and you can compare and contrast how similar you and our Miss J. Yeah, it could be your twin. Yeah, why not? Okay, let me just. First thing first, a very good morning to everyone. It's also almost lunch hour, so I'll try to make my presentation quick. Okay, I know food is more interesting than what we're going to talk about after this. Don't worry. I would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate the iTELL 2026 committee members for successfully putting this conference together. So let's give them another round of applause, everyone. Woo. Right, my name is Warid, okay, and I have an English name. My English name is Worry, okay, but you don't have to be worried about me. Come hell or high water, I will always survive. And at home, my wife called me Honey, Okay, my wife called me honey, but she also has another different set of names that she will use when she gets angry at me. Yeah, it's a secret. but whenever she uses that name, I'll get worried. Yeah, definitely something bad's gonna happen when she uses that name. Okay. Um, as an ELT practitioner in Malaysia, I have steadily progressed throughout my career. I started as a primary school teacher, so I really love Simon Says, I really love playing games. And then after I've completed my PhD, I was sent to the teacher training institution in Malaysia. It's a little bit different compared to where I was first posted at that time. For 6 months, and after that I received an offer from Mara University Technology, and here I am now, from Mara University Technology. I've started to grow the networks, get to know Dr. Gumawan Jati and his colleagues in ITB at that particular time, and it's really an honor to receive another invitation from him for today's session. Okay. Because my campus, despite of it says Malaysia, but my campus is quite near to Thailand. It's just a 2-hour journey from my campus to Thailand. So I would like to extend collaborations with Indonesian teachers or lecturers. If you have any interest to come to Malaysia, why not stop at my campus? I'll try my best to accommodate everyone. And perhaps maybe we can work also together with our colleagues in Thailand, Southern Thai, in Patani, with Prince of Songkhla University. Who knows, it's going to be more interesting than having just 2 of us. The more the merrier, right? Okay. All right. Let me just begin with 2010. Okay. So 2010, okay, 2010, was basically a very happening moment for me because I graduated at that particular year. In that particular year, I graduated, I completed my degree studies. And the most important part about graduating at that particular time was that I don't have to sit for another exam. No more exam, right? We graduated, so no more exam. It's my turn. It's my turn to put the exam papers on my students' table. It's your time now to answer all the exams. To just give a brief context about my situations, because I was attached to a religious school in Malaysia, so I started my exam at the age of 14. So I sat for PMRU at the age of 14. At the age of 15, I sat my PMR. At the age of 16, I sat my SMU. And then at the age of 17, I have to sit for my SPM. So I had exam every year until I completed my secondary school studies. Okay, so that's why I become worried. Okay, that's why my nickname Worry comes in. I always have this exam anxiety. If I don't do well, my mom will kill me. If I do too well, my dad will be putting more pressure on me to do well in the next year exam. Okay. But so what does it mean to me? It means I'm free. I'm free from any exam. So no more exam. Graduated, no more exam. I got a job with the Ministry of Education. I'm ready to build a relationship, finding a lady to become a wife. Okay, it's a different story. But if you invited me for the next round, then maybe I can share with you how I met with my wife. So, but this what we call a happy ending for me didn't last long. So 3 years after 2010, 3 years after 2010, that will be 2013. The Ministry of Education in Malaysia decided to do something interesting. All teachers, all ELT teachers, English language teachers, they have to go through another exam to prove that they have acquired the C1 and C2 proficiency level. It started with the benchmarking, with the CPT, Cambridge Placement Test. I was one of the victims. So I was one of the victims. I didn't know what the results came, how does it look like at that particular time, so I had to resit for a second round of the test. But the second round of the test, alhamdulillah, I managed to grab C2. I don't know how I managed to do that. It wasn't a prepared, we just being told that, okay, you have to go to this school to sit for the test, aptis at that particular time. So you have to take the test, and I went there not preparing anything, went out from the what we call examination or computer lab feeling full of regrets for not preparing at all. But yeah, when you're not prepared, you got better results than you prepared, right? Okay. But in today's presentation, I'm not going to talk about those who have what we call complied with the Ministry of Education decision of putting the policy of C1 and C2 on the English language teachers. Okay, I'm going to talk about those who have, or those who are still struggling to meet this mandated policy. Because in Malaysia, just to let everyone know, all the ELTs, in-service or pre-service, the pre-service teachers, they have to get C1 and C2 proficiency level before they can be posted to school. But those who are already in service also have to show a certain level of proficiency, especially also at C1 and C2, in order for them to, what we call, be qualified to become a teacher in the classroom. Although they have been teaching for like 5 or more than 10 years in the classroom. Just go this. All right. Okay. Now, before we dive in, let's ask ourselves, how would we react? How would you guys react if, despite our efforts in the classroom, we have graduated from the local TESOL program, we have been teaching in the classroom for more than 10 years. How many of you have taught here more than 10 years? You have more than 10 years, but you retired already. Retired, not counted. I'm like counting time, counting my days toward retirement as well. Right, so you have taught in the classroom for more than 10 years. You have produced many A-grade students in regional English language tests. You even received awards from your district education levels, state education levels, and then suddenly came this new policy asking you to prove that you can be at C1 and C2 level, which you failed to meet at that particular time. How would you react? Then the answer to this is not as easy as I'm prepared or not prepared, because throughout our observations in this study, what happened is that it always begins with the teacher feeling prepared to face the UPTIS, because at that particular time we used UPTIS tests. But as they trap in the cycle of failures, what we call their motivation started to tone down. Okay, and this is what I'm trying to share with you today. So when the ministry first benchmarked ELT practitioners' proficiency levels using the Cambridge placement test, the results show that nearly 70,000, 70,000, I'm very bad with maths, but 70,000 ELT teachers did not meet the required C1 and C2 proficiency level. Okay? And the ministry, in order to overcome this problem, they launched a new program they call as a Pro-L program, where the teachers had to go for a 3-month intensive program with native speakers. Okay, so they got the native speakers to train them. Okay. Now, naturally, what does this mean? It means that the teachers have to teach in the morning, and after they have completed their class in the morning, probably in the afternoon, then they go to a certain place that's been designed to them for a workshops for another 2 hours on daily basis. This is what's happening at that particular time. Yet, many, after attending the workshop, they still, when they sat for the test for the second time, they still failed to show changes in their language proficiency. Okay? And then, when teachers who have been teaching for more than 10 years go into the stage of the second cycle of the training, and then move to the third cycle of the training, they started to feel that, they feel that they are worthless. Because previously, they are, they are decorated teachers. Decorated teachers meaning that they have won many awards, they have received and produced many A students, but then suddenly there's a deficit views in their motivation. So they started to feel less worthy to be in the classroom because of the policy. Okay? As a result, okay, as a result, sorry. Am I controlling my slide again? Sorry. I think I need some help there because I think that I got disconnected here. Okay. Can we move to the before slides? Yeah. Okay. All right. Can we go to the next one? Thank you. Okay. Now, as a result of teachers continue to fail in their training, what happened was that the Ministry of Education could no longer cope with the numbers of the teachers and the training. You know, because when the training prolongs, what does it mean? It means it requires more costs from the Ministry of Education, right? So what they did, it was that they changed from face-to-face workshop to the multiple online course, MOOC, okay? And from there, okay, the teachers, they have to attend another cycle of the course with someone being assigned as a group leader to guide them. Okay, here is the departure point of our studies. You know why? Because after the teachers who went through the MOOC course set for the next cycle of tests, the numbers of teachers who passed to C1 and C2, they are still low. We need to continue. They still need to attend another MOOC course. So this is the departure points of our study. We asked ourselves, since AI can provide feedback, and when we asked the teachers why they couldn't pass or get through to the C1 and C2, the main reason was because of the feedback. They do not have what we call someone more intelligent, more knowledgeable person within the group to provide feedback to them. So since that artificial intelligence can be used to provide immediate feedback to them, so we asked this simple question: if artificial intelligence being used as a tool to co-regulate means to become study buddy with the teacher as they prepare for the test, will they be able to overcome the barrier? Will they be able to meet the policy needs? Okay, and for this we asked 3 simple questions. The first one is we want to look at how the current policy has shaped their identity as an English teacher. Number 2, we want to look at how and why the use of AI helps her to prepare for the mandatory policy. And then, to what extent can AI help the teacher to overcome the hurdle? Okay, next, can we go to the next slide, please? Now, using AI, however, is not always a smooth ride, okay? In current research surrounding AI and cognition, 2 major themes have emerged. Number 1, the impact of speed, and number 2, the struggle of learning. A major drawback is that people often use AI to avoid cognitive friction. Have you ever heard about the word friction before? You guys know what friction is? Friction is challenges, okay? Okay. They trade task complexity, task friction, which is necessary to expand our understanding and mental schemas, and which we normally use or face to deepen our understanding on the certain topics, for speed. Okay, so we skip friction in order to produce the outcomes of the product, and we trade it for our speed. And normally we tend to what we call to treat that speed as our illusion of mastery. We think that we become master to that particular task, but in reality, no. We simply create what we call as a cognitive debt. Okay, right. In contrast, language acquisition inherently requires learners to struggle with difficult tasks. Okay, just like in your marriage, sometimes you need to fight with your wife, right? In order to spice up your life, you need to fight. But don't fight too much. Okay? Towards the end of the day, you always have to say, as a man, this is what my wife taught me. You always have to say yes to her. You know, after all the fighting, still say yes. I say, okay, fine, okay, right? So, in order to learn something, you have to struggle. That is the idea of friction. But because you use AI to avoid the struggle, you created a cognitive debt rather than learning and acquiring something new. Okay? So, while this theory, it sounds great on the paper, which is, don't skip friction, face friction, learn from it. So it sounds so good, right? So this theory sounds so great on the paper. Too much struggle, we have to admit, too much struggle without support leads to what? Failures of integration. Okay, so integration failures. You cannot complete the task towards the end of the day. You become demotivated, and then you just leave, the task as it is. Okay, right. So next. To prevent AI, okay, so we talk about frictions, but now we have to prevent AI from what? From becoming a dangerous cognitive shortcut, okay, where we become, or we use it to offloading from completing our tasks. What we have to do is we need to understand how to co-regulate with artificial intelligence, okay? Now, one of the interesting models that I have, studied would be the models from Wien and Hedwig, and further, what we call enhanced by Augustine's 2026. Now, under this model, the human learner must maintain absolute ownership of the internal cognitive loop. And this loop is driven by COPES, C-O-P-E-S. C is for the condition, O for the operation, products, and evaluations. The first is the condition. If you look at what we call the two squares there, do you see the AI-mediated cues and support? You guys can see the AI-mediated cues and support. Was it in the big square, or was it separated from the square? It's separated from the square, right? This is the idea that the author's trying to portray here. That as a co-regulator, the AI-mediated cues and support must not be inside the big squares. It has to be outside from the big squares. Okay, but can you see also the dash from AI-mediated cues to the condition, operation, products, and etc. Yeah, that is the relationship between the AI to the what we call COPES. Now, what are the COPES actually? Okay. Now, the first one, COPES, is C for conditions. What is actually conditions? Conditions mapping what you internally know against the external demands of the task. So it has two functions. Number one, the internal. Internal referring to what? The task that you have to do. The external. The external is the task that you're supposed to do. The internal is referring to how much you know about the task, how much you know on how to complete the task. Okay? Second is the operation. If you look at the next box, there's the operations there. What does it mean? It means the actual cognitive strategies that you deploy in order to complete the task. And normally, this would involve control and monitoring of task completion. Okay? And then you have the product. The product is the outcomes of your writing, or perhaps the outcomes of your activities. You're talking about writing skills, then that would be the writing. You're talking about readings, then that would be the product. And after that, you go to the evaluations. Evaluation is, if we talked about operations, we talked about how much you know about it, but evaluation is how well have you done in order to complete the task. And there's a standards there. Standard is what we call as the levels that you need to achieve. And this level on these standards depends on the task that you want to do. If you're talking about C2 standards, then you should know the C2 standards. Okay? If you're talking about C1, then you should know how C1 standards looks like. Okay? So what does it mean? It means that in order for COPES to take place, you also need to have something. Just now, when Dr. Willy Rinandia talks about reading, right? Extensive reading. Extensive reading is about what? It's about building your schemata, building your knowledge, so that you can bring that knowledge into the next lessons. It's not like you go into the next lesson with an empty shell. No. But you bring your experience to the next one. But if you don't have that kind of experience in these scopes, it will be impossible for you to co-regulate with AI. And that will be the reasons why you become offloading. Okay? Ataupun what we call as you avoid the frictions. You use AI in order to make the work be completed faster than usual. Okay. Next. So how do we design the study? We design the study by looking at through explanatory single case study design. Okay? And of course, like I mentioned, we have asked 3 different questions there. And in order to avoid the bias, we polled teachers to find, it was very difficult for us to find the correct, the right, what we call participants, because we do not want to post the use of artificial intelligence to the participants or to the target audience. We want it to be voluntary from inside. Okay? And the teachers that we have selected, she has worked for almost 19 years, and at this particular time, this would be her 3rd attempt in completing the mandated policy. Okay? And then we use Gemini, because Gemini is one of the tools that our Ministry of Education has assigned to all teachers for free. And this is the study that we follow. This teacher is around 12 weeks. We have what we call meeting on every week to get and to gather the data, also to look at how the what do we call this, the chat logs between Gemini and her being used. Okay. Now let's go to the next slide. Don't worry, I'll try to complete it as soon as possible. All right. So this is the findings of our study. So the first question, if you're talking about case study, explanatory case study, you have to first ask about the context. So initially, the teacher tried to ignore the mandate, reasoning that meeting the policy would not affect her salary and promotion track. Okay. The good thing about, I don't know whether it's a good thing about Ministry of Education in Malaysia or not, but when it comes to the policy, when they put the policy into active, they do not put it together with a certain rules and regulations. Like if you do not comply with this C1 and C2, then you will not get your promotion. No, there's nothing. There is like no what we call no punishment if you can't complete that particular policy. It's fine. You fail, you go another round. Right? If you cannot improve, then you go to the next round. Okay? So that's why we keep saying that it's a cycle of, I don't know, some teachers that we have interviewed, they say it's a torturing moment for them. Because, as I've mentioned, they have worked for almost like 10 to 20 years. They can speak very fluent English, even better than me, I would say. So let's go back to here. So because there is no, what we call, no effects towards your salary and promotion track, but this teacher, okay, the one that we are following, is very active at the state level ELT community. So she organized programs, she did this and that, just like Pak Gumawan Jati, right? Doing that, become a president and things like that. It's just that people do not know that her proficiency level is not at C1 and C2. It was a secret at that particular time. Okay? It's a secret that she doesn't want to tell. Okay? But because of being in that community, so she was constantly surrounded by peers who are already at C1 and C2. Okay. So when people say, oh look, finally I managed to escape this cycle, and then she was like, oh really, yeah, I'm so excited as well. So she had that kind of life, okay? And driven by this social pressure and compounded by an internal deficit view, where she internalized her lack of C1 status, as a personal professional failure, she was pushed to try again. So this round, for the 3rd round, she went on what we call on self-initiative, self-initiative actions rather than being pushed by the government. Okay, and for her 3rd attempt, she decided to restructure her approach. She kept the official MOOC to provide the macro level conditions. Remember the scopes we were talking about? So the MOOC become the conditions to provide the macro level and content structure, but co-regulate with Gemini to fill the missing information gaps and for immediate formative feedback. All right. Now let's go to the next one. Now let's look at from behavioral engagements. We have COPEs, okay, in this study we have COPEs as our main theory, but we also define and see our discussions from the engagement. So we see it from the behavior, from the cognitive, as well as from the, what do we call, from the motivational aspect. Now let's look at the behavior. Now, so her behavior engagement with the AI over this intense preparation period was not linear. Okay, instead of evolve, and you can see it evolve into 4 situations or 4 phases there. First, the novelty phase, okay, the first 3 weeks. So she thought that she has a native speaker in her pocket, okay? Because Gemini can be used on phone, so she thought that she has the native speaker in her pocket, so you can always ask, and she always asks what we call Gemini to do things and like that. And then second, the slum. Okay, so after the first 3 weeks, she suddenly turned into the slum situation because she felt that she has to memorize the feedback given by the Gemini in order to improve herself. You know, the misconception started to occur there, you know, from what we call using AI to further deepen our understanding. Towards the end, it becomes the memorization, which she doesn't like that so much, okay? But in the third phase, which happened around week 7 until 9, something interesting happened. Her principals or headmaster, she gave her a task to come up with an assessment, reading assessment. And the good thing about this teacher that we understudy here is that she has some general knowledge in item building because she was trained by the Ministry of Education. She was, she managed to, and she what do you call this? She has the ability to come up with reading materials at A2 level. So she knows the tips and the tricks on how to come up with this good item. But then she used AI, so when she used AI, she learned something. She learned that you have to segment these segmentations of the big task into several workable and doable activities. Okay? For example, when we talk about speaking, okay, speaking was very challenging for her because Gemini couldn't afford a 2-minute answers at that particular time. That was a limitations to the artificial intelligence. So how did she cope with such a limitation? She desegment the speaking activity into a smaller chunks, smaller parts, into between 30 seconds, and keep repeating it. That's how she coped with it. And finally, because she realized that she can desegment the task at week 7 to 9, so she started to bring that knowledge and also what we call momentum to her preparation in APTIS. Okay? All right, let's go to the next one. But how about her cognitive engagement? So week 1 and from week 1 until weeks, what do we call, week 13, sorry, week 1 until week 3, I'm sorry. So you can see in the behavior part, she felt like she has a native speakers in the pocket. But cognitively, what happens at that particular time was offloading. So she passed all the tasks of thinking and doing everything to the Gemini in order to do the work for her. And that was like a very wrong step to begin with, which, if you recall in the behavior stage just now, what happened? She started to memorize answers given by the AI, which is definitely was not the right thing to do. Okay, but then again, as I've mentioned, the needs, what do we call, the activity given by the principal, the task given by the principal in week 7 and 8, somehow retune her understandings of how to use AI so that it becomes desegmenting the tasks to smaller parts. Okay, and towards the end of her cycle of using the AI to prepare herself for the test, especially in week 10 until week 12, what happened was that she becomes more confident to question AI feedbacks. So for example, I think from the data that we collect, we found that she has some problems with conditional sentences. So she questions, why did you use this and like this? And then the AI explained how the conditional sentences was used or often used in the sentence. Okay, next. When we talk about her motivations, we can see that the first 3 weeks in the films of fragile reluctance, and then again, because of the real task, the real world task given by the principal, it becomes more engagement for her. And finally, from week 10 until week 12, it becomes a recovery and resilience moment for her. Okay? So basically, the engagement, the effective or the motivations she has at that particular time fluctuates from highly motivated to go to down and finally going back to the top. All right, next. So do you think the teacher passed the aptitude with C1 and C2 level after going through all these things? How many of you think that she passed in her third attempt? Raise up your hand. Everybody was like so skeptical. No, she's not gonna pass. She's gonna go to the fourth round. How many of you think that she didn't pass the test? She already got the result. I'll announce it to you. How many of you just like, I don't know, just like, I'm very skeptical about using AI as a co-regulator. Anyone? Anyone would like to give a guess? How many, okay, let me see the show of hands again. How many of you says that she passed the test in the third attempt? Okay, very slow, something like this, you know, okay? You're not confident. How many of you say that she didn't pass in her third attempt, that she's going for another round of the test? Oh, okay, good. Okay, all right, next. Actually, she did pass. She passed. Yeah, she passed C1. Barely able, C1, B2, B2, and then all together the marks, when they compounded together, it becomes C1. Okay? And she was like, finally she can go to the ELT state level committee meetings, but saying, I got my C1 already. Okay. Right. Now, in explanatory case study, it is very important for us to discuss, did she get C1 because of the AI, or was it because of other factors? Was it because of the, what we call, task maturity? Because she has set the test for almost like the third time. So maybe because she has gone through that aptitude test for 3 times, so maybe it's because of task or test maturity. That was the reason why she could get C1, or was it because of co-regulation with the AI? So to answer this question, I think we have to go back to our COPES, okay? Now, based on my observation, I would say that, what do we call this? Task maturity might, or perhaps does have some roles in her success, but where task maturity comes to, you have to look at conditions and you also have to look at the standards. When you co-regulate with AI, it doesn't mean that you have to abandon your experience with, your past experience from your learning, Your past experience are what we consider as conditions. Remember I said conditions considered as internal understandings that you bring into completing the task. And that conditions, then that maturity as well, creates a standards that you have to achieve, which is C1 level. So, to say whether or not is not the right question. The right question would be how task maturity is being embedded into this co-regulated activity. That she managed to find a way to desegment the big task into smaller parts. After she realized that what happened, you know what happened? The operations become, the frequency of the operation increases. Because she was lacking at what we call the speaking test and writing. So she didn't go through like 2 hours. What happened in the week 1 until week 3 was that she wanted to produce an outcome of 2 minutes outcome. And it becomes something else. Okay? But because she realized that she can do mini bites of it, so the operations frequency increases. And that helps her to practice more and more. Okay? Right, can we go to the next slide? So 5 takeaways from this study. Number 1, the trajectory of CPD with AI is non-linear. Okay, you cannot say that after you have using AI at the beginning of the stage of learning, it will always increasing like that. No, there's a possibility. There are many reasons why suddenly, from week 1 until week 3, you become so motivated, and suddenly in week 4 or 5, you become demotivated. Sometimes you might get into fight with your wife. That could be the reasons why you can't do well in your preparations for the test as well, right? Number two, anonymity breeds confidence because artificial intelligence, they provide immediate feedbacks and they do not judge you. This is also part that she likes. You know, she was so afraid to ask her friends to guide her. For one good reason as well, she doesn't want anyone to know that she has not acquired the C1. It was a very huge dark secret for her. Okay, but the AI immediate feedbacks provided that kind of safety net for her. Number three, real-world tasks for agency recovery. If you're talking about continuous professional developments, we have to attach how AI can be used in a real-world task. And in her case, she used it with the APTIS task, and she break it down into several mini chunks. And AI competency is essential. We've talked about AI ethics just now with Dr. Willy. But in this case, I think we also need to know how, what mechanisms that we can do with AI that would help co-regulations with artificial intelligence strong. And finally, what we realized from this study is that when AI is used as a co-regulator, it mitigates the inherent weaknesses of self-regulated learning, which is no feedback. If you do self-regulated learning at home, no one will give feedback to you. If someone gives feedback to you, then there must be something next, kiri kanan you, right? But artificial intelligence can give you the feedbacks. But at the same time, self-regulated learning mitigates the limitation of AI. Because AI couldn't perform or couldn't record your speaking output in 2 minutes, so you, yourself, as a learner, you break it down into what the AI can do, okay? Next. So what is the future research interest? Okay. From here, if we're serious about promoting AI as a co-regulator in language learning, we need to find the mechanism that increase the operations and product in self-regulated learning in different learning contexts. In this study, we found about breaking down or desegmentation, breaking down big tasks into smaller chunks so that you can use with AI. But I'm sure there are many other features or many other mechanisms that we can identify as a pattern, and then we try to record it into a paper or perhaps as a website which you can go and refer things that you need to know in order for you to be able to co-regulate with AI. So I think that's basically what my study is all about. Currently the paper is being rejected twice. It's not being accepted, it's being rejected twice. But we always come back great, just like what Willy said, draft 1 is better, draft 1, then you go to the draft 2, and hopefully the draft 3 will be better than the first 2 drafts. All right, so thank you very much, and if in future then you would like to, what do we call, we go to the last one. If you'd like to, connect with me, then you are more than happy to receive you. You can send an email to me, all right? So thank you very much for the opportunity, and once again, I really hope that I have somehow fulfilled the standard that iTELL wants to do. All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Warren, for the insightful presentation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let us to go into a discussion session. Discussion or sharing session, maybe.
It's lunchtime.
It's lunchtime. Just want to maybe sharing? No? Oh, okay. That's enough. Mr. Roy, do you want to say something before we close this session?
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and pray that the paper be accepted.
Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Yeah, if I got wrong, I hope you apologize me because I'm really happy being part of you here because I'm not from a teacher or English teacher, but I come from Old Japanese Language Department in Southeast Asian Studies. So I'm happy to see all of you here. Thank you very much. Thanks back to your MC.
Baiklah, terima kasih
Miss J yang sudah mengawal ya Bapak Warid ya, Mr. Warid. Oke. Kepada to Mr. Warid, could you please come to the front because we will give you something from us ya. Bapak Jati. Baiklah, terima kasih. Ya, jadi kita close dulu sesi hari ini ya. Sesi pagi ini ya. Kita akan lanjut ke lunch. Setelah lunch baru kita akan menuju ke parallel session. Untuk di parallel session mungkin Bapak Ibu sudah mengetahui ya ruangannya di mana? Belum? Iya, belum sama sekali. Oke, nanti akan dibagikan ruangannya ya. Jadi ada 7 ruangan ya. Room 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sampai 7. Di sana sudah ada PIC masing-masing. Ya, jadi gedungnya bukan di sini ya. Nanti ada gedungnya di fakultas kami masing-masing, nanti ada 4 fakultas nanti di sana dibagi seperti itu. Jadi sekarang mungkin Bapak Ibu lunch dulu, nanti akan diumumkan dapat di ruang mana seperti itu. Oke, baiklah ya. Bapak Ibu ya bisa mengambil lunchnya di luar. Terima kasih. Ya. Oke, nanti diumumkan di luar ya. Oke. Okay, all of you may come to the front of this room to take your lunch. And happy eating.